The Everything Sequel podcast is brought to you by us. Not Us the movie, us, Mike and Tom of the Everything Sequel podcast.
Everything Sequel contains explicit language. And why the fudge not, you melon farmer?
Hello and welcome to the Everything Sequel podcast. This is a Nightmare edition. Today, we're ranking the Nightmare on Elm Street series. It's been a long time coming. I'm excited for this. My name is Michael Shantz of the How Dare You Awards. Joining me, the antimatter to my matter, Tom Stewart of Lonesome Whistle Productions. Say hello, Tom.
Help yourself, fucker!
That's a good voice.
Thank you. I've been working on it. As you might be able to tell, I was trying to go for a general use Freddy line from Nightmare on Elm Street 2, which is more difficult than you might imagine because you've got to wade through quotes about exploding birds and inferior seed before you get to the good Freddy lines.
All right, don't give away too much yet.
I didn't give away anything. I didn't get anything. I mean,
you seem to be disparaging right out of the gate.
That's not disparaging. I'm just saying from a quotable collection point of view, you have to wade through a lot of lines that relate to inferior birdseed before you get to some of Freddy's one-liners.
Well, you didn't get to the many different variations of the word bitch.
No, I don't think he says bitch until the third movie. Am I?
Well, it's the most famous line for sure, but
isn't "Welcome to Primetime" bitch the first
bitch line?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I'll know as we go through notes in our next episode.
I guess so. Yeah. I think so. I think bitch was set piece specific before it became a phenomenon.
All right. Oops. Let's turn that personal focus on. There's a football game on tonight. My phone's gonna want to talk to me.
Oh, okay. Good. Well, I'm going to want to talk to you as well, so we'll both be vying for your attention.
You have my undivided attention because I'm very excited to talk about the Nightmare on Elm Street series.
Yes, indeed.
It's like the last of what most people would call the big three.
The big three, yeah, and it's certainly one of the majors.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of horror franchises. It's one of the big three slasher franchises,
right?
Along with Jason and
Michael.
Jason and Mike. that's not the. Let's call it Halloween rather than Michael. The Michael series. But it's Friday the 13th. But that occasionally is renamed the Jason movies as well. But these are, and again, this is Nightmare on Elm Street, but known as Freddy movies.
Well, right. I mean,
most of the subtitles have Freddy in them.
Sure, and that's the outlying thing about this series in particular. I mean, in all three series, the villain is kind of the star.
Yes.
But in this one, it's different because we get to hear him speak. He actually talks.
Yeah, he's the only verbal. He's the only kind of verbal star of the three. Yeah. And not just. He's not concise, right? He talks a lot.
For sure. He's verbose.
He is verbose, yes, absolutely. And obscene.
Yeah.
As well. So, yeah, very different. It's a curious series, I think. Watching it back, I realized that these are all very different kinds of horror movies. Very different in tone and style. They've got a different understanding of what dreams are.
Yes.
Each of them.
That's one of my big notes.
And yet, especially in comparison to the slasher franchises we've already done, there's far more consistency and continuity
Big surprise.
across the movies.
Huge surprise for me, by the way.
Than you might expect.
Didn't remember that.
Yeah. You can sort of follow the series as an ongoing story almost, which I didn't remember, and it's in stark contrast to Friday the 13th and Halloween.
So I have, not quite a half a dozen big surprises in watching this series, but that was one of them. The continuity between in the narrative from movie to movie was pretty both interesting and astonishing, because I didn't honestly remember it.
No, yeah, and
when you get to like 5, I didn't know I'd be seeing the same characters I saw in 4. I did not remember that.
No, they like to pick up story threads no matter how long they've laid dormant, which is right up my alley in terms of sequel cinema. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for, even when it's inconvenient to them, and it often is. And if it ever gets too much, they just kill off the
problem,
the cast of the previous movie and start over. But at least they acknowledge that it happened, that there's an ongoing fictional world that is going on outside and across the movies.
Did you have any other big surprises? Because I really did.
I don't know surprises. I'll admit I've seen this franchise a lot over the past few years on consecutive Halloweens. Actually, I watched the whole series.
I watched the whole series a few years ago,
and there weren't. I wouldn't say there were any big surprises, but I realized I think any surprise I had was a pleasant one. That this is better than I remembered it, or this is a better movie than I gave it credit for.
Me too.
Pretty much, and almost without exception, really. I was definitely, when it comes to ranking, I was definitely ranking up, not down.
I was too. So let me tell you where I was at, because maybe you remembered this, because I mean, I'd watched them all just a few years ago myself, but somehow forgot the sort of wealth of talent that came out of New Line Cinema.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as we went down the line, I kept saying to myself, well, I know that director, and I know that director's movies.
Yeah.
And I know those actors. I know those writers. John Carl Buechler is involved in this series.
and Lynn Buechler.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So to see, for those of you that don't remember, he's the director of Friday the 13th Part 7, as well as Ghoulies Go to College and Troll.
Yeah. We don't need reminding of this.
No, but 3 movies that really surprised us. And one in particular. And so to see that happen for this series, and then just generally, like you said, it was a big surprise for me how better some of these movies were than I thought they were.
Yeah, and I don't think I clocked quite how individual they were as movies. That there's no resting on your laurels here.
Right.
We switch everything up for each movie, and usually bringing in a new director who completely reinvents the mythology each time. For better or worse, but mostly better.
Yeah, I agree with that. They either reinvent it or actually deepen it in a way that's doesn't seem ham-fisted or reaching too far, in a way that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the versatility of the series is its great gift. I think the fact that you can keep switching things up, you can keep reinventing the mythology, the kind of horror film it is, the way that dreams operate in the story.
Yeah.
But falling back again on these kind of really the solid foundation of storytelling tropes and devices, which give the series the kind of consistency that you don't normally see over the course of a horror franchise as well.
Right.
I mean, sometimes it's about returning legacy characters and storylines, and other times it's just about a very stable iconography. We don't shift too far outside the original iconography of Nightmare and Freddy Krueger.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we might want to do different things with the idea, we never lose a sense of what the original concept is.
Yeah.
We just think of something new to do with it, which is how sequels should be.
Yeah, I could push back on that with one sequel in particular, but
yeah, me too. I mean, I think there's always an exception that proves the rule.
But I want to talk about that. I mean, I'm not going to talk about it until we get to it.
Yeah.
But I think there's plenty to say that that choice is not the terrible anchor on the series that everyone involved seems to think it was. But I'll save it.
Yeah, I think there's only one movie in this series that fundamentally doesn't work. I think there's pros for the rest of them. It's all pros and cons. I think there's only one thorough failure in the series for me.
Okay, I'm the same way, so I'm interested to know if that's the same movie. But
yeah, it'd be great if it wasn't. It probably
might be.
It probably is.
Yeah.
But I surprised I surprised myself over what I put at the top, and like Friday the 13th, it was really competitive.
So for me too, like really hard,
but clearer, but slightly clearer. I think it was slightly clearer that the order kind of made sense, and I never really wanted to change it in the way I did with the Friday movies.
Okay,
but it was about one movie outperforming another, not anything to do with the movie itself.
Was your Race to the Top a 2-race movie?
I mean, conceivably 3.
Because mine's 3.
Mine, yeah, okay, yeah. I think mine is. It's interesting because I know exactly why my second and third are not my first. Like I have concrete reasons for that, but in the cold light of day, sort of taking them out of the context of the franchise, I might flip them in terms of how good they are as movies.
Yeah.
And their overall quality, but in the order I've come up with makes sense for me within the franchise.
I think my problem is that I think one of these movies, in terms of made quality, kind of stands above the others.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, it depends. There's quality in terms of well-made film.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, and then I think there's quality in terms of auteur direction.
Yeah.
And I had to make the choice of, like, again, what do you value more?
Yeah, sure.
Like the vision or the product, in a sense. And so that was a huge factor in my ranking of the top. But it was nice, it was nice to work your way through a series and sort of think, well, let's not rule this one out. That might be a better movie than I gave it credit for. Mm-hmm. So it's not a foregone ranking. Wasn't a foregone conclusion for me at all.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the overall respect I have for this movie hasn't changed. For these movies hasn't changed. It's such. I mean, this. For a horror franchises give us a lot. They don't always give us the most inventive cinema that we've ever seen. This series really does. This series prides itself on invention over, over anything else. Uber alles. Invention uber alles.
Well, when you're talking about a series that draws inspiration, say, from Gene Kelly dancing.
Right. I mean, the influences are myriad throughout both art and popular cinema, and I think that the best of these movies has that relationship kind of down to a T.
I'm glad you said that, because that was another one of my huge surprises for this series, was that I did not expect this series to be so inventive in mixed media.
Oh, That's a really good way of putting it. Yeah.
That astonished me. I mean, I was really pleasantly surprised by that.
Yeah.
The kind of risky things that they did. And it started to remind me of our conversation of Bogus Journey.
It's pushing the limits of what you can do with practical effects, not just in the context of a horror movie, which is essentially designed to terrify or to upset, but contributing to the overall production design of the movie as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where it sort of transcends the kind of Tom Savini model of how can we make this look gross. I mean, that's hugely important, and that's an art in and of itself. But this is more. This is definitely more about how can we push the limits of what's possible to do on screen in this medium.
Yeah.
And they keep doing that again and again, and just when you think it's peaked, they manage to kind of top what they've done, which I think is again very rare. It's usually production values drop off as you move forward, not the other way
That's
around.
another thing about this series. I mean, we won't get to money corners until we do every individual movie. But what they did with limited budgets throughout this series, because when we do our other series, you see an eventual growth of budget, and this has that too, but not in the way that the other series had.
No, I mean, I rewatched Never Sleep Again, which is
I watched it too.
Okay, good.
I wasn't going to let you get one up on me. I'm on to you, mister.
I had a feeling you might.
Not only that, but I rewatched that documentary.
Yeah. Scream
Queen. Yeah. My Nightmare on Elm Street. I rewatched that.
Me too. So
yes.
we're able to have those conversations, but I'm always struck by the lack of reinvestment. When the movies are hit, they never seem to put that money back into making the sequel. It's like we're just gonna take what we would always take and then make a movie with the same or less of a budget, which makes no sense to me. I know that's kind of not how filmmaking works as an industry, but it just seems illogical to me that you wouldn't be like, oh well, now we can really push the envelope, and it'll be an even bigger.
Yeah, I understand.
Like what can we get away with that we know people are going to come and see anyway?
I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, I also, especially in watching that documentary, I realized that New Line then was not the New Line we know now. It's not the Lord of the Rings New Line.
Well, it wasn't even a production company.
Yeah, right.
When the original Nightmare was released, it was a distribution outlet for the film Reefer Madness.
Yeah, right. But I think, and this is my last surprise for the series, was how short the duration of it was.
Yeah.
For the bulk of the movies until you get to Freddy vs. Jason. But for the core Freddy movies, even having that outlier of New Nightmare, which comes in '94, that means the whole series takes place in just 10 years.
Yeah. And that was another factor in my ranking, like which movie better overcomes those limitations of having to be made quickly and with great difficulty. And I think that's a true test of a director and what they're capable of. They can either thrive in that chaos, or it destroys them. And I think we see both in consecutive movies.
Okay. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, surprises galore in the series. Once again, I think we're going to talk about a series in which we've talked about it. We talked about it for Friday the 13th. We talked about it for Halloween, in which we've talked, of course, this whole podcast, the life of this podcast, about the law of diminishing returns and how sequels get less and less good. And then we come across these three horror franchises. and we keep saying there are some surprisingly good surprises in the series throughout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that says something about the genre and about the people making all three of these series.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this series in particular, none of these are afterthoughts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's and that's so clear. I mean, even more so than, you know, the I think when we did Friday over the past 2 years, we're actually going to do all of this in 1 year, which is great because we get to tackle another whole series next year.
Yeah, I have an idea.
Oh. But going back to Friday, like the sequels arguably outdid the original. I don't think that's necessarily true here,
Mm-hmm.
but there's no drop off in quality or kind of filmmaking aptitude.
Yeah.
From the Wes Craven original, including arguably Wes Craven himself as well. Like he I've got a lot to say about how when he returns to the series, he's not trying to remake his own movie. In fact, arguably his project is entirely the opposite of that.
Well, that's the thing about that particular movie is it's a complete outlier. It's not connected really narratively to...
I don't know. He goes to hell at the end, and then we find Freddy in hell in Freddy vs. Jason. I was really surprised about that. I was like, okay, well, like, I wonder whether that was conscious. Whether they were like, well, now we've got Freddy and Jason in hell,
right.
we can do business.
Yeah. But I just kind of meant like the idea of the fact that they, in thought, gave birth to this character that gave birth to something else like that character, and so it's following kind of it's a thing unto itself, that movie.
It is, but what struck me watching them back to back again is that what Wes Craven's doing with New Nightmare is definitely in the spirit of, reinventing the wheel every time, and redefining what dreams mean in the context of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Because, in New Nightmare, dreams become the space between reality and fiction.
Yeah.
And that is, and that's a different interpretation of dreams from all the others.
Yeah, sure.
So it's certainly, I think had the previous movies not have been as ambitious as they were, and I'm sure, we can't ask him now because he's dead. But if Wes Craven came back to life, I'm sure he'd have a lot of shit to talk about the sequels that came after Nightmare on Elm Street. But when I'm watching them all together, I'm like, never losing that spark of invention is what makes a movie like New Nightmare possible.
Mm.
Because they're constantly challenging themselves to be inventive and experimental in completely different ways every time.
Yeah.
So it's, in a way, it's not that surprising that they go to a movie as innovative and experimental as New Nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Because they never stop trying to make those kinds of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the most conservative of these movies is arguably the most artistically significant. So, I think even when they're trying to do middle of the road, they can't help but, they can't help but make great cinema.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I like the series a lot.
Yeah, me too.
I have a lot of nice things to say and not many bad things to say about
Agreed.
it. And I kind of, even the movie that I think is a thorough failure, I don't have any issues with it, with the ideas of it. It's all about execution.
Yeah, I agree. And for me, I don't know yet if we're talking about the same movie, but the movie that was a failure for me the first time I saw it, and I think I still think of it as a failure, but I liked it a lot more this go around when I watched
Okay.
it. So,
Yeah.
all right. Anything left?
It has. Yeah, I will say it has steep competition. I might be inclined to like it more were it not surrounded by so much good cinema.
Mm-hmm.
No, no, nothing but the reason we're here.
Indeed.
Nothing but the beginning of the actual episode.
Well, all right then. I want to know what tops your list. You've made me very curious, sir.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad it was something of a tease. The top of my list is a movie that to me really broke the mold of this series.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as I said, each of these movies has a different understanding of what dreams are in the context of the movie.
Yeah.
But this was the first movie that seemed to be styled around and motivated by dream logic.
Mm.
And it's helmed by a director who's able to marshal that into the language of surrealist cinema.
Okay.
Whilst at the same time, it's a movie that's probably the most connected this series has ever been to what's going on in the pop culture zeitgeist of the time.
Hmm.
So you have this combination of art and popular culture, which is a kind of collision that I find especially gratifying as a film goer. And I think when postmodern cinema is at its best, it's finding that relationship between the two.
Okay. Yeah.
And that film is Nightmare on Elm Street 4: The Dream Master.
I am delightfully gobsmacked.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was. It did help watching Never Sleep Again and realizing that most people were pretty astounded by how great that film was,
Mm-hmm.
and didn't really understand how it could be so good because it was made so quickly, basically without a script.
Yeah. Right.
And yet that worked to Rennie Harlin's advantage. I think it allowed him to take control of the visual and verbal language of the movie, and it became his vision, and he was able to kind of reconcile all those contradictions within the movie and turn it to something that was like art and entertainment seamlessly.
Love it.
So, yeah.
I'll tell you this.
It is called The Dream Master, isn't it? Because I get a bit fuzzy on...
Yeah,
on the,
I get fuzzy on the
subtitles.
On the subtitles, I know.
I had to remind myself that Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is Freddy's Revenge, because that sounds like a much later sequel. That subtitle sounds like it comes from, like, film 7 or 8 in a series.
Well, yeah, right. Because some of these titles, the Dream Master included, like, who's the Dream Master exactly? Sometimes I wonder, does this title really fit with the movie?
Oh, that makes total sense to me, because it's it's not about the Dream Warriors anymore. It's about this one kind of dream Lone Ranger, who's since birth been able to control what happens in her dreams. So that made sense. That's the thing about it. It's on paper, it's all of it is just nonsense. And when you see it, you see it occur in real time, it has a weird illogical sense about it. It's internal logic. The movie is big on internal logic, but that logic doesn't work outside of the context of the movie, and that to me sort of suggests that what they're doing is using dream logic. And I know specifically Rennie Harlin is saying, I had a dream about this and I put it in the movie.
There was a lot of that.
So, but I think they run with that and really make something out of it.
I love this. I'll tell you this, it's not at the top of my list.
Yeah.
It was the biggest surprise for me, though.
Mm-hmm.
Watching it, I was shocked how... Well, I'll let the cat out of the bag. How good I thought that movie was.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting coming off Friday the 13th and the second half of Friday the 13th, because, the equivalent movie in that series, the sort of MTV era movie
Yeah.
is Jason Takes Manhattan. And yet, you get a sense that Rennie Harlin understands the idea of how to incorporate music video style into a feature movie better than they do.
Sure.
You know, yeah, yes, there are a lot of kind of needle drop moments, but almost the point where it feels like a musical, right? He's able to sort of unite the worlds of film musical and music video.
Right.
Whereas Jason Takes Manhattan is just like, you know, we'll have some music playing while Jason's killing someone.
Well, he kills a few.
But it's you know, it's like and in the documentary they talk about that, like people didn't necessarily like what he was doing, but they knew what he was doing would attract this new audience. Because he understood them and what they wanted and what the style was that was attracting them.
Yes.
But I don't know. To me, the fact that he can combine that with kind of this surrealist cinema language, kind of you know, makes it's kind of like a pop art masterpiece to me.
Yeah. That, yes. Am I thinking of the right movie?
4.
I mean, I'm thinking of the right movie. God damn it, I can't remember. I agree with what you're saying. That's not in question.
Okay.
But is that the one that goes black and white, or is that the next one?
No, that's Dream Child.
Okay.
Listen, I mean, there's some, you know, there's some moments in the movie that certainly need addressing.
Mm-hmm.
There's some tone deafness there.
Well, yeah, sure.
To issues like race and sex that
in a lot of these movies.
In a lot of these movies, but I think particularly in this one, there's also, I mean, you know, there's a lot of that. So, there's a couple of yeoman's efforts that didn't really work.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they're on this. They are on the side of let's
attempt.
do this as inventive. Let's attempt and let's do it as inventively as possible.
Yeah.
Even if
but
we
what I also
don't have
like
the time,
is
the means, or the
yeah,
ability.
right. What I also like, if you watch that documentary, Rennie Harlin himself will say, "Yeah, we tried this thing; it didn't really work."
Yeah.
So, and then we did this, but I thought it was cool.
Yeah. So what? Well, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. Then, what could possibly be a Rennie Harlin movie in your list?
Rennie Harlin is the director of a screenplay written by friend of the show Matthew Aldrich.
Oh, really?
Not sure if you knew that.
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah. So I have nothing but love for Rennie Harlin, and I just love that this movie is at the top of your list because it didn't get a sniff towards the top of my list, despite the fact
Really?
that I really like it a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I think I thought you were way more likely to put this at the top than me.
Oh no, yeah,
I feel like this movie is totally more your wheelhouse than mine.
Oh, I mean, I don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan, but
Yeah.
I don't think I should say.
There's a lot of outrageous choices that on a different day might not turn my head as they did.
Uh-huh.
But the spirit, I mean, I understood the spirit of it, so it all impressed me.
Yeah.
But, you know, there are other days where I could see myself going, is that really necessary? Or I mean, it's such a great. I think all of the franchises we've talked about have had this. They essentially they essentially let a hobo direct their movie, right? The documentary kind of makes it sound like he hung around New Line enough.
He kept knocking on their door every day until Robert Shea just said, "All right, you can direct it."
Who in himself looks like a former hobo, so maybe it was that.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the Homer Simpson's hobo code that made him direct it. But they could honestly they couldn't have picked a better director at a better time of their career to make this movie.
Agreed.
And they had no idea that They had no idea that was how it was going to turn out. So I just love it's again, it's got that Friday the 13th Part 4 lightning in a bottle feel about it. Everything comes together at just the right time. And because he has to make the movie faster, it's a better movie than it would have been if he'd taken more time over it and someone else had written it. I truly believe that.
That's great. All right, well, I love that this is our jumping off point, because vying in my top spot are 3 movies.
But this is not one of them.
And I'll go ahead and say it. It's not one of them.
Wow. This is pretty far apart for us.
Yeah.
We're never usually more than 1 or 2 spots apart.
And that movie never, for me, etched up into vying for that top spot. I mean, I had one movie that is made by an auteur, I guess you could say, and is just a very polished movie.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it just really has the stink of a well-made movie.
That's a good stink.
And so, yeah, right. And so it's I think it's hard for a lot of people not to put it at the top of the list. I think you have a fan favorite that's a entirely different movie.
Oh, okay.
That has actual auteur moments, especially when you watch that documentary and you see the things that they did and how far they reached in certain effects.
That doesn't sound like it's your top either.
It might be.
Okay.
And then you finally have a movie, I don't know how far up on your radar this movie is, but I think the movie, it's the one movie that gets the biggest bad shake in the bunch.
Yeah.
From, I think, most people.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of stiff competition in that category as well.
Yeah, right. my desire to want to go to bat for that movie has made it very difficult for me to decide whether or not it should be at the top of my list.
Oh.
It does something completely different with the franchise.
Yeah.
And we are not yet in a place where Freddy's one-liner punching machine.
You've confirmed my suspicions that you were an apologist for a particular movie in the series. And hey,
I think you know that because we talked about it.
You may have another one.
Yeah?
Yeah, you might be preaching to the choir. Who knows?
Okay. Well, I think you might know that because I feel like when I watched all the movies 2 or 3 years ago, whatever the hell we were doing on this podcast, I said, so I rewatched this movie and holy fucking shit.
We were probably doing Mission Impossible at the time.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years ago.
We're probably just starting Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah, so that in the end I think has steadied me to say that my favorite in the series is A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge.
Wow.
I hope I surprised you as much as you surprised me.
You have, and you know, a lot of mirror imagery in this series, and at the moment it's looking like our rankings are going to be the mirror images of each other, maybe.
Oh.
Maybe. Wow. Okay. Yeah, so that's interesting. That in and of itself, putting it at the top is a big swing. Mm-hmm. And I guess I don't get to say anything more about that until I reveal where it's ranked in my list.
Yeah, right.
But what?
But I am just gonna come out right out and say that I think everything, almost down the line, including the things that Wes Craven has said about the movie and why it doesn't work, I completely disagree with.
Clearly.
And I think there's a point at which these movies, by and large,
Yeah.
stop being too scary.
Okay.
I think this movie is, despite the fact that it doesn't always, like you
you
said,
have nightmares about exploding birds and dogs with human faces.
to hear, that part I can't really, that part I can't, that part I was like, well, that doesn't work, but I'm gonna defend almost everything in this movie, including the exploding bird.
Well, we'll see how hard you're going to have to work when we're done with the ranking. Excellent.
Plus, and obviously we're going to get into it when we get into the episode, but I think that movie has the longest lasting legacy of something interesting to talk about within the history of film than any of these other movies.
You won't
and that counts.
You won't that more than counts, and you won't get much pushback from me on that.
All right.
Yeah, within the canon of gay cinema, it's a very different proposition. Yeah.
So and for those reasons, that was the thing that tipped it over for me, was that last.
Well, obviously I don't agree completely, and we don't know to what extent I agree, but I like the reasoning. The reasoning is sound.
Good.
It's the reasoning of a good person.
All right. What's your second?
What's my second?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I'm going to disappoint you now.
No.
Because I assumed this would. I thought what was going to happen. I thought you'd second guess yourself. Want to put this at the top and end up putting Dream Master at the top because it's trashier. Now you've done. I don't know if you've done either of those things. So I'm a little bit worried. But the next movie on my list, I think. To me, it elevates the series to the level of a high-end horror movie, but in both production and storytelling, and it reinvents.
Starting to think it's the same movie.
Okay, it reinvents the genre of the horror, the kind of horror it is, as kind of supernatural fantasy and gothic drama, fairy tale, and I think it kind of really pushes the envelope in terms of what's possible with practical effects in the medium.
Oh, now I really think we're talking about the same movie.
And it's a a successful continuation of the ongoing storyline in the franchise as well. So next on my list is
I'm sure we're talking about the same movie
A
now.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3: Dream Warriors.
Yeah,
is
that's
it Dream
my second.
Warriors or The Dream Warriors or Dream Warrior?
I think it's Dream Warriors.
Dream Warriors, yeah. The Dokken song.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even I know that reference.
Yeah, and the only reason it doesn't make the top spot for me.
Real close for me. I got to tell you, real close.
It was fairly close, but I think rewatching, I think because of sometimes it's the victim of its own ambitions. So there's what the movie wants to be, and because it sets its ambitions so high, sometimes there's a little bit of sloppiness and even an unevenness that you wouldn't expect from a movie of that working at that level. Not often, but sometimes. And that hit me this time that there's one or two rough patches in the movie which you wouldn't get in a legitimate kind of high-end horror movie that they're trying to be.
Yeah. I guess I agree with you, and that's kind of been always my thought about that movie. This is the movie I was referring to when I referred to a fan favorite.
Totally. Yeah, clearly.
Because I think it's if you're going to take the fans as a whole and you leave the original out of it, I think most of them, I think a majority would say this is the best movie.
I'm amazed neither of us did.
Yeah, I agree.
That's how much of a truism I think that is.
It's funny, everything that you were just saying, I was hooking into because those were my thoughts of the. I've always really liked this movie.
Me too.
I always thought it just comes in a little under
Yeah.
what everybody else thinks of it.
Completely, yeah. And I think there are distinct reasons for that as well. I think it's there's kind of an unevenness. There are some really great performances, some not so great performances. There's some great writing. There's some not so great writing.
Yeah,
You know, and that's you know, the I think because the movie itself is so aspirational in so many different ways.
it really is, and that was the thing that struck me more than anything.
The fact that it doesn't pull it all off doesn't really matter, but when you're ranking it against a movie that I think makes a better argument for itself.
Okay.
That's the only difference.
One of the things that I did not know that I learned upon watching the documentary was that idea of its director, Chuck Russell, again, another guy I know, whose movies I know, we'll get to him. But to hear him say what a comic book geek he was. And because you get that fully in later sequels in the series.
Yes.
Like that's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
The influence of, say, comics on the actual movies themselves. Here, I see the influence of comics, but I don't see the love of them.
Oh,
And
yeah.
At times, it feels disjointed for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, things like that are some of the little ticks that I mark against the movie. But again, these are nitpicks
It's
for a very, very, very good movie.
It feels like an older person's idea of what youth culture is. Whereas Dream Master very much feels like a director who understands youth culture better than it knows itself.
You know what I kept thinking of as I watched Dream Master? I kept thinking of Rocky IV.
Yeah, I think it's definitely in that pocket of kind of combining art and excess. Again, this might not translate outside these two closets, but that's how I think of it. And yeah, I mean that idea to do an entertainment product that's also artistically accomplished.
Yeah,
Dream Master really captures that for me. And I think Dream Warriors wanted to be more middle of the road. And I think the benefit is you tell a good, honest story in it, but you don't hit the same kind of artistic heights. I think at least
well,
in terms of screenwriting and performance, practical production design is on a whole different level. You can't touch the movie on that.
Yeah.
What they achieve with production design in this movie,
and it's at least as
unparalleled,
strong as the first movie.
Well, I mean, it's more again,
and I think it might go beyond it.
Yeah, more ambitious, more varied. Like you say, it brings in mixed media in a way that it wasn't really possible to do with the first movie.
Right.
So it's untouchable on that level, and that kind of means it probably should be at the top of any list. But I think we both had the experience of sort of breaking it down and realizing that not all the units add up in the same way that they should.
All right. Want me to go next?
Well, so we have the same second.
Same second.
Yeah,
top.
let's flip it and see. Because I'm.
I think you can probably guess.
No. I don't know where this is going anymore.
Well, I guess for me, there was a movie that I thought.
Oh, I think I know. I think we might have the same second and third.
Okay.
Thinking about it.
There was a movie.
I'm thrown. I am genuinely thrown. I was not expecting you to come out and say Freddy's Revenge was the best of the sequels. So
glad I could surprise you.
All of this feels. Anything I'm saying now, you consider post-stroke commentary.
Fine. Well, my next movie I thought going in would certainly be my top. And we've kind of already talked about it, how polished it is, and both the in-world, out-world thing we have going on. And
okay, yeah.
I just think one, it happened at a certain time and place that was really fortuitous for the movie, and makes it a tiny bit more interesting. I can't give it too much credit for that, but I just think, listen, I'm talking about Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Yeah.
This is a really metatextual kind of masterpiece of interesting cinema.
Yeah.
That I don't think can be denied, and
I agree.
it's so interesting that I'm surprised it's not at the top of the list. Except, sorry, once again we're dealing with a series that has too much good and interesting shit going on.
And I think it is also my third, and there's good. I think for me there's a good reason why it's not at the top of the list. But I'll echo everything you said. I think it's a stimulating discourse about the nature of reality and fiction.
Mm-hmm.
I also think, and I don't know if you'll agree with this necessarily, but it's while it's doing that, it's still able to provide a lot of raw, real life horror that reminds me of early Wes Craven.
Me too.
But as effectively scary as some of this movie is, nothing about Freddy in this movie is scary.
I agree. And I think it runs out of steam.
Yes. And I think the big to me it's the problem I have with this movie is an aesthetic problem. I think the redesign of Freddy is
I think it's its biggest problem too.
Is both a misstep, and it makes it less legitimate as a nightmare movie, as a Freddy movie.
But see, I can't argue too much in favor of this idea, because the movie is a movie about an entity that has become Freddy-like, and so he should be different. But
yes and no.
No, I think yes.
I think
Let's
if you're
just end
gonna
it there. I'm right.
Well, I think if you're gonna do that, then you have to do it differently from how they did it, which is he looks a bit more like the devil, which is what they arrive at.
Mm-hmm.
He's Freddy, but he looks a bit more like the devil, and he's got a green hat like the fucking Riddler.
What I don't need to see is Freddy in leather pants.
And some of it is... Well, but that was going to be my next point. Some of it is about, is about dated taste, isn't it? Because,
yeah, right.
The day glow of it all is very mid-90s.
Sure.
They're experimenting with digital in its infancy, and they don't really know what they're doing with that, and it certainly can't match what they've done practically before.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even the practical choices they make in the Freddy sections of the movie don't wow in the way they don't shine in the way they should. But just on the level of like raw, real life, uncanny horror.
Yeah.
There are parts of this movie which
the scariest thing in that movie is the boy.
Yeah.
And he's truly frightening.
I also like
he's really good.
It also kind of disproves the theory, the operational theory that people have that, once filmmakers age and have children, they lose their edge.
Yeah, right.
Because Wes Craven, I think he's a father, right? I think he has a family, and
yeah.
And the way he treated that kid on set and what he's prepared to do with him, clearly nothing has changed in his.
What he's willing to do to the actor and the character.
Yeah.
Because that kid's father dies in story in the first few minutes of the film.
Yeah.
Great.
So yeah, I think we're in agreement, but I know why there are better nightmare movies.
I agree.
But that's no reflection on the movie itself. It's as intellectually stimulating as it gets, whilst also being viscerally affecting too.
Yeah.
And that's a very Wes Craven trait. He takes that through to the Scream series.
Yeah.
And post Scream, there's not many filmmakers who've been able to find that balance.
Sure.
Like remaining scary while also being funny, smart, and self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
this movie has all of it, and it's a, it's a roadmap to Scream.
Yeah.
Clearly.
That was my thought too. Was that I wrote down. I remember thinking, "Oh, this is the first steps towards his Scream career."
Yeah.
And just to think about that,
I know.
Two separate franchises.
Well, Wes Craven might not have made the best movies that exist in the popular cinema of his time, but his ideas were always ahead of the game.
Yes, agreed.
He was always a little bit. You mentioned the timeliness of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's also predictive as well, because it's easy to think, because 1 or 2 years later people were making those kind of movies. In '94, no one was making that kind of movie.
Right.
He is literally one of the first.
Yeah.
And I don't think people kind of, obviously he's overshadowed by Tarantino, both in terms of box office and critical affection too. But he's doing that, and he's of an older generation. He's coming in having already had a career. Tarantino is starting his career, so in a way it's more impressive.
Well, to go along those lines, I was surprised by how this movie didn't really set the world on fire in terms of box office. The reason why came out the same weekend as Pulp Fiction.
And it was digital fire, which looks shit.
Yeah. True.
They'd use actual fire, it would have set the world on fire. Okay. So we're starting to
We've settled back down.
We've settled back down, so it'd be interesting to see where we go from here, because there's got to be some differences at this point.
Well, I'll go ahead and go again, because I want to put you out of your misery about where I'm going to put this movie.
Yeah.
The next movie after New Nightmare for me is A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, and it's The Dream Master.
Wow.
All the way down to 4.
The only weakness in your ranking there is, for me, is that New Nightmare could be a better Nightmare movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a coin toss as to whether it's a better movie overall.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I think you're right about both of those things, but I think that like you said,
that's all I take issue with. I mean, again, these four, well, maybe not. These 3 out of these 4 movies, at least, that we've talked about, I really can't take issue with ranking them
in any order.
In any order at the top, but I take issue with that.
I understand.
Umbrage, you might say.
Umbrage, but
no, not umbrage, because whatever. This is all a good time.
Yeah, the thing about New Nightmare that really stayed with me, it's not. I think you're right. I don't think it's a great Nightmare movie. I don't think it's a great Freddy Krueger movie.
No, yeah.
But I think it's a really good fucking movie.
Yeah.
Despite all that, and I guess for me that was the most surprising thing about the movie for me, was how good I thought it was, despite the fact that it's failing in those areas.
I wish they could have trusted, and I think Wes Craven's lack of trust in the Freddy iconography shows here. I wish they could have just trusted that, like the previous movies did. The invention can still be there, but we have this bedrock of the iconography that we keep going back to. And to sort of mess with that it's just not necessary. It doesn't mean your movie's going to be any less experimental or innovative. This is the nucleus that the audience needs to kind of to draw on.
Well, he also does something in that movie that he argues against for 2 doing. So I kind of think to myself,
yeah, I think it's sour grapes, a lot of it.
Come on.
I mean, literally sour grapes. It's a great story of Robert Shea calling it up and saying, I read an interview where you said you were unhappy with your profit participation. So
yeah,
let's figure that out.
Let's figure it out.
That's not a story you hear every day of producers and directors.
Mm-hmm.
That speaks well of both of them.
it was. I mean, obviously, you don't know this unless you watch the documentary.
You haven't got 5 hours to kill on a
I know,
documentary
yeah.
about Nightmare on Elm Street? What's wrong with you?
But it's like I feel like we could do a whole separate episode just on Robert
Oh.
Shea.
Yeah, I mean, worst actor in cinema
Yeah.
history, question mark?
Absolutely.
I didn't even need to do a question mark. You agreed before I provided the question mark.
no.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that's fascinating to me is
Ne-
how much he wants to be an actor.
Really? Yeah, I mean...
On top of, you're talking about a guy who's basically started New Line Cinema, and when people talk about what New Line Cinema was at the beginning, you know, we're talking about 5 people working in an office or whatever it was.
Yeah, I know.
You know, where people knock on the door. But the chances that he gave people, including a bum,
Literally a hobo.
literally a bum.
Fucking Grizzly Adams comes to his door and he's like, do you want to direct the next Nightmare movie?
Yeah, exactly. And at one point, I think I started crying at one point to see him crying about how much he just wanted to let people tell a good story.
Yeah.
It was really affecting. And so
It
there was this
reminds
part of me that... And then
Yeah.
that part about him calling up and saying, so I hear you're unhappy, let's fix this. And then that's how New Nightmare even gets made.
And then something good comes out of it, yeah.
It's amazing.
Media people are built differently, I think. You know, I mean, you and I have interacted with media, but we lead relatively normal lives.
Yeah.
And you know, the idea that you go through like a Time Warner merger and you don't just take the money and run.
Mm-hmm.
This is crazy to me.
Yeah.
And you go off and live on a desert island for the rest of your life, and that's what I would do. But media people are built differently. They just want to keep going, keep making.
Do you feel like this? I feel like this. I know what you're saying about like we're, you know, we dabble, but we're not really a part of it. We just have this little podcast. And yet,
Well, we've dabbled in other areas, but yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
essentially.
but when I encounter people in the world, I think of them as fucking civilians.
Well, yeah.
They're not us. And it,
No, they
to
they
a point of frustration.
They wouldn't hotbox themselves for 2 hours.
No, yeah.
Ranking the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
I just want one person to know when I hear whatever that song is that Billy Ocean plays in Jewel of the Nile, and I say, what movie? And they don't know. I can't believe that they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely.
My limitations of music prevent me from being able to come up
No,
with the title of the song.
I didn't want to point out the obvious hypocrisy there.
But that's a separate thing.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
point is,
mean,
I can tell you what movie it's from. That's the important part, Tom. I can see your wheels fucking turning. All right, what's the next movie on your list?
Where am I? Okay, so
4th.
this is the 4th.
And it can't be 4, because that's 1.
And they say we don't understand numbers. Yeah, next on my... So, this is... we haven't even talked about this, but we're doing one of these movies for the second time.
Yeah.
And that movie is next on my list, and it's Freddy vs. Jason.
All right.
Now, I think we speculated when we did this for Friday the 13th that this was probably fare better in the rankings as part of the Nightmare series than the Friday the 13th series. And to me, that turned out to be true.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this for it. It's a movie that gets better every time I see it.
Okay.
And, yeah, so it gets better every time I see it. And what I realized watching it this time was I kind of... My preconception last time I watched it was that this movie doesn't really warm up until the third act.
Mm.
But watching it again this time, I realized actually the first act is really strong and the third act is really strong. It just sags in the middle.
Mm.
Given that this is much more of a Nightmare movie than it is a Friday the 13th movie.
Sure.
And that it continues to kind of impress me, and it's about a third better than I thought it was the last time I saw it. I'm putting it fourth on my list.
All right.
And I don't think you have.
Well, I have 4 at fourth.
Oh, that's right. So what's your fifth?
I've already revealed it to you.
You have, yes.
Not the 5th, but the 4th.
Who's on first?
Yeah. All right, so once again, I have a little mini battle. And Freddy versus Jason is in the discussion.
That's already a battle. I mean, you don't need to add a battle to it. It's that's all it is.
Yeah, okay, let me just preface this by saying
There are no wrong answers here.
I like Freddy versus Jason.
Yes.
But I was never one of those people clamoring for this movie
No,
for
me
decades,
neither.
saying
No.
this needs to happen.
This.
I could give a
It's
shit.
agreed, but it's crept up. It's like crept up on me.
Okay.
There's a reason why every Halloween I'm not immediately going, oh, I gotta watch all the Universal Monster crossovers again.
Yeah, right.
I'll get me some Frankenstein versus the Wolfman. No, because then they're generally not turn out to be very good movies. It's generally not a good idea.
Well, for me, okay, this is a battle between 2 movies, and the other movie is The Dream Child.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So,
This complicates things. This ain't over. I realized I was saying it in a Bronson cadence, so I just decided to go full Bronson.
all right, so even though I watched all these movies just a few years ago, there were things I didn't remember. I did not I fully did not expect. And I think I was kind of Mandela affecting one movie for another.
Yeah, it certainly gets that way in the middle there.
Towards the end, yeah. So I was really surprised by The Dream Child and its continuity
Okay.
and its connection to previous movies.
Okay. Yes. Fair.
And then when you add like a spiked baby buggy and sort of the idea of abortion and creeping that into the narrative of your story, it had a far more lasting effect. I thought it was a really more interesting watch this go around. And now I was battling between this kind of polished movie that I really like a lot
Yeah.
and this movie that crept up on me, and I went with the movie that crept up on me.
Okay.
So I went Dream Child,
Dream Child. Followed by Freddy vs. Jason.
followed by Freddy vs. Jason.
Wow. We're gonna we're gonna have some discussions. Because
is this the bottom of your list?
it's not the next on my list, therefore it must be at the bottom of my list.
Wow.
This is the movie the only movie in this series I think is an absolute failure in pretty much every respect.
Delightful.
But you clearly think that movie is Freddy's. It doesn't help that I can't remember the title. Freddy's Dead. That's the beginning of it, right?
Okay.
What's the title of it?
Freddy's Dead, the Final
Nightmare. Okay, so all right,
When you watch that doc,
definitely
and I
the
can't
worst title. Definitely the worst. Title.
definitely, and so that's what I wanted to say. When you watch that doc, and I can't remember her name now, but she was like a producer all along, and then she said she wanted to direct
Rachel
the movie.
Something, yes.
And they say, "Fucking A, let's go. Like, you're gonna direct it." I'll come up with it. Here, hang on. But when she's that's Wes Craven. God damn it!
We don't need to remind ourselves of his name.
Rachel Talalay.
There we go. Well, I got Rachel. I got half of it.
Yeah, you were on the ball. Yeah. So she said the first thing I came up with was the title Freddy's Dead, the Final Nightmare, and everybody loved it. And the first thought I had was, not me.
No.
Call that fucking movie A Nightmare on Elm Street, The Final Nightmare. Mm-hmm. What are you doing?
Yes.
But.
Or Freddy's Dead.
I flat out did not like that movie the first time I watched it.
Interesting.
And I very much liked it quite a bit more this second time I watched it.
Even though it's bottom of your list?
But yes, it still was at
Okay,
the bottom
okay.
of my list.
Okay. Well, I have a lot of problems with it. What I don't have an issue with. Oh wait a minute. We've missed Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Not me.
No, I have. Though.
I haven't missed jack shit.
I've skipped one. I've missed Nightmare on Elm Street 2. I just realizing that. So what did I get up to? Wes Craven's New Nightmare, Freddy vs. Jason. Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is my next.
After Freddy versus Jason.
After Freddy vs. Jason, yeah.
Crazy.
And I was reminding myself of that because.
So what's that mean? That means it's fifth on your list?
Yes.
Okay.
I knew we'd miss one. Anyway.
Again, not we.
Well, you kept saying, "Come on, you're fifth. You're next. Come on." You're rushing me. The running time of this episode, I'm sure, will tell a different story.
I'll say.
So Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. I think this is a derided movie amongst the fans of Nightmare on Elm Street.
The series.
And horror in general, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, they're all wrong.
But they're mostly wrong. I think what they might be right about is that this, for me, and clearly not for you, which is really interesting that we disagree on this, I think there's a lot of execution that doesn't land
mm-hmm.
in the movie. And I think there are some key flaws to how the film is made. But the idea, and I think this is what you were getting at earlier, the idea that this movie is somehow illegitimate.
Yeah. Because
it revolves around a male teen
mm-hmm.
discovering same sexuality instead of a female teen who's kind of heteronormative and promiscuous. That it's deemed to be a lesser movie.
Yeah, right. Nonsense.
Or a less legitimate horror movie. Well, in a way, it is more interesting and arguably one of the best uses in the series of the idea of dreams.
Yeah.
Because this is the only movie that really thinks about dreams as repressed sexual desire, which to me is like the keystone symbolism of dreams. That's where it all comes from, right? Freudian dream interpretation largely based around the idea that it's repressed desire and particularly repressed sexual desire. And this is the only movie that goes there.
Sure.
And it goes there with disenfranchised
fervor,
with a disenfranchised person.
Yeah.
So I think we're in a similar camp where I think a lot of the disdain for this movie is motivated more by prejudice.
Yes, very much so.
Than what the actual movie is about. But there are problems with the movie that is still difficult to overlook.
Okay.
I think there are some mistakes made, and I think the execution could be better at times. Which is why
you could say that about all of these movies,
but not to the extent of this one. I understand why people poke fun at some of the production values of this movie, but I don't understand why people find it laughable because of what it's about.
Yeah.
And that saddens me that the movie's been dismissed mostly on that basis.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of and to throw you a bone, I think a lot of the silliness is intentional.
That was my thing, was that,
but not all of it. I think there is a line,
they missed the mark on some things,
yeah.
And we'll get to it when we get to it. But obviously,
and the documentary makes that abundantly clear, by the way.
Yeah. The ways in which these filmmakers were not thinking about certain things including the gay aspects of this film,
well,
is remarkable to me.
I mean, I have a lot. I'll save it because I have a lot
to save it too.
I have a lot to say about
but-
the veracity of that, but outside of the people making
Me
the
too.
film,
Me too.
the people
Yeah.
making the film are as big a part of the problem as the people watching the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, I think there's latent homophobia behind a lot of the responses to this movie.
Absolutely.
It's more, I think, to me, the distinction is about acknowledging, an appreciation that acknowledges its problems, but doesn't dismiss it out of hand. And I think the tendency has been to sort of dismiss it out of hand, and then all of its problems kind of just reinforce the original point that, that this isn't worthy of discussion.
Right.
It's worthy of discussion, but it's imperfect, and it takes it takes some of the wrong roads. You're right. A lot of, I mean, that's no reason to dismiss a movie out of hand in the way that
Agreed.
it's been done. And we know because of what the movie's about that the reason that's been done is got nothing to do with execution or
All right.
quality.
Good.
It's about politics and people's biases and prejudices. So
We're in agreement.
this is what
there.
I mean. Like, I want to be on the right side of history, but I don't want to be one of those people who goes around reinventing history, saying that George Bush was a better president than he was just because it's got significantly worse since. Right?
So funny. I remember seeing in which movie? In Freddy versus Jason, George H.
Yeah.
Or not George H. But George W. Bush's picture up on the wall.
Yeah.
And that what you just said is what I thought of when I thought, because you've been making that argument for many years now. And that was the first thing I thought of when I saw his picture on the wall.
I'm not going to take it easy on him just because everyone post Bush has failed even more spectacularly than he did. It
worse.
doesn't mean that his failures weren't spectacular in their own rights. Yeah, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
The other expression I thought of while we were talking about this is, the kind of the gestalt of how these, there's nothing really to complain about any of these movies, really. Mm-hmm. What we're doing is entirely pointless, but and then I thought like the worst day of slashing beats the best day of working.
Mm-hmm.
Sit me in front of any kind of slasher film, and I'm pretty happy for the and I can watch quite a few of them in one afternoon, so I feel like I'm getting my
that's the other good
from money
thing.
as well.
So many of these movies, 90 minutes, happy guy.
But anyway, now I have to circle back to.
I think we're
Freddy's Dead. Well, yeah, I just to say a word about Freddy's Dead.
Yeah,
and why it's not at the bottom of my list. Why it's second to bottom. I like that, or I appreciate that they took a camp kitsch turn. I think that's again perfectly legitimate direction.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I don't care for it.
That's fair enough. I care for it.
I don't think I needed the Looney Tunes Freddy movie.
Right. I think again the problem is, and maybe this is what you were speaking to earlier, is that when that makes everything feel forced and not as scary as it could be, it becomes a problem. But in essence, I like that direction, and I definitely think under different circumstances that direction could work.
I also don't accept the premise of this movie, and that's a big problem for me.
Yeah, it gets really weighed down with backstory.
It's muddled. It's pretty muddled.
And it's really the only movie that tries to retcon the mythology.
Yeah.
In a way. Well, I mean, arguably New Nightmare.
For me, in a way that doesn't work.
Well, they never do it. I don't think they do it at all up until this point.
Yeah.
Except New Nightmare, but New Nightmare is basically set in an entirely different fictional universe. So
it's a whole different thing. Yeah.
But it's second to last because I think there's some. I think they still managed to pull out 2 or 3 really effective dream sequences.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Dream Child gets anywhere close.
All right. What I like is I think it's pretty unsuccessful at what I'm going to give it a compliment for. But
that's some backhand.
I know.
That's
It's not
Andre
nice.
Agassi backhand right there.
I admit it's not nice. I like that you know that he had a great backhand. That's astonishing to me. Well done. All right.
Yeah, it was entirely that, and not just the only tennis player I could bring to mind.
That you could think of? Okay. Damn it. I was so happy for you.
Well, maybe a little McCollum A, a little McCollum B.
No. Well, okay. So what I was going to say was it has a gimmick, this movie, at the end. With the 3D glasses.
I was trying to think, what gimmick is he talking about, because there could be
There's just too many.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is a gimmick, right? That's why the subtitle is at the beginning. Freddy's dead.
Yeah, right.
That's
right,
the gimmick
right.
of the movie. We're gonna kill off Freddy, and we're actually serious about it. Like, we're actually we commit to the bit.
Yeah, true. It was the intent to end it completely.
Yeah, to the point where in New Nightmare, people are talking. It's a talking point.
Yeah, right.
The fans of the movie and the limo driver saying, "Do you think they should have killed him off?" And and the talk show host, yeah.
And she's talking to Shay himself, and
Right.
he's like, "Well, the fans are clamoring. They want more Freddy."
No, that was too. What you just did then was too fluid to be Shay. You're like looking down.
I needed to be more stilted.
More stilted, clearly reading from a note card.
His best performance too. Another reason to kick that thing up a few notches.
Oh no, I think he looks more at home in that S&M joint.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
2.
Oh, 2. I see. Yeah.
So,
Well, that was a cameo at his expense. All the other cameos are clearly he's
right.
insisted upon being in the movie. That one, I think, is very much like, just a way of.
Freddy versus Jason gets it right. Like, come on, the principal's coming. He walks into a room, doesn't say a word, hard cut.
Yeah.
Get him the fuck out. But at any rate, I kind of applaud this effort, and I think this movie does something really, really interesting in terms of their use. And it's, I mean, what fucking year is it? 91?
90.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was 90. 91?
No, 91. The final.
Oh, yes, it would have to be because it was post Twin Peaks.
Yeah. So, but to use CGI the same year as Terminator 2. I don't think it looks particularly good with the 3.
That's maybe the best part. No, it doesn't look good. That's
prehistoric
yeah.
piranhas swimming around, but but I applaud the effort.
I mean, we'll get there, but how much did that remind you of the ending of Jaws 3D?
Very much so. Yeah,
Freddy
it's
head.
in my notes.
Okay, good. Well,
Jaws 3D ending.
Yeah. Which I suppose makes sense because it's.
So again, I don't think any of those things kind of work at what they wanted to do, but I completely applaud the effort and the attempt to do something interesting. Because no 3D movie ever says, and again, it was a failure at the time because people didn't know when to put on their 3D glasses. But the idea of holding back for 90% of your movie and then a character puts on the glasses and so do you, to me, that's great. What a great idea.
Sure.
I think I would have known when to put them on.
See, I think I would have known as well. I think when she put them on, right? I mean, isn't that...
Makes the most sense.
Well, we'll get there, but I love the way that they try and seed that through the movie by these kind of shots, just including the 3D glasses on the counter as, on the desk in the shot.
Yeah.
Also, it's not clear why does Yaphet Kotto own a pair of 3D glasses? I don't think that's ever explained.
I need more questions answered about Yaphet Kotto and his place in this film.
I mean, that's the other big to me, the other big failing of the movie is that because Yaphet Kotto's in it but not utilized properly, you sort of reimagine the movie as Dracula versus Van Helsing, but with Yaphet Kotto and Freddy Krueger, and you sort of think, well, that's a missed opportunity.
You fucked it up.
Yeah, there are a lot of missed opportunities.
Would you like to reconsider?
Oh no! I think Dream Child's way worse. I've got no hesitation about that. No, Dream Child is an abomination.
I don't.
It's
a boy.
Worse than the Dream Child itself.
No, I really responded to that movie way more this time than I did the first time.
Okay.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah. You can.
I'm not saying I don't have problems. Plenty of problems.
Yeah.
Movie's directed by fucking Stephen Hopkins.
I know who he is. You don't have
I should hope so.
You don't have to tell me that he's the reason the first series of 24 is so good and the rest of the series are not.
You don't have to tell me that he's the director of the way undervalued Predator 2.
Or The Life and Death of Peter Sellers. But he really screwed this one up.
Okay, pussy face.
I don't know how much.
That's a line from Predator 2.
I don't know how much of it was his fault, but again, because I think he had even less time and even more difficulty than Rennie Harlin did, but
yeah,
he certainly didn't seem to thrive under those conditions in the way that Harlin did.
Well, when you're already homeless.
Are you saying he will direct for food?
Yeah.
Came with this little sign, will direct sequel for food. That's a t-shirt.
Imagine?
That's a t-shirt. Will direct sequel for food.
You know what I like too, because part of his story in the documentary was, whatever, after the weekend the movie comes out and he's in that hovel of a fucking apartment or a motel room, wherever he is. It's like, looks like it's fucking vacant. And he says he got a call there from Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
And I love the idea that Steven Spielberg is going out and watching the fourth installment of a Nightmare movie and saying, hey, I'd like to talk to you.
Well, I think, doesn't that make you reconsider? You're the Spielberg head here. Are you going against your film mentor?
No, I think this speaks well of him.
No, that's what I mean. Doesn't that not make you want to put it right at the top?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you made it sound like I have to bring Spielberg down in my estimation.
If me and Spielberg are on the same page, then that must mean it's a great movie.
No, wait. That's just I'm saying it's we're not there yet.
Well, we got to be there pretty soon, or we're gonna we're gonna irritate a lot of people.
Let's do this quickly. I don't need this episode to be any longer than it already is.
No, that's correct.
How many of these movies are bad?
1, possibly 2.
I agree. I'm definitely saying at the top of my list, they're all good. 2, good movie. 3, good movie.
Post 2?
Nightmare.
Yeah.
New Nightmare, good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Rennie Harlin, good movie. I had to say that because I can't remember the title.
Dream Master. I'd love that if they were just like a weird naming convention for one of the movies, is the subtitle was just the director's name. And then it went back to normal after that.
Yeah, they're all good.
Uh-huh.
And then where am I?
New Nightmare.
No, Freddy vs. Jason.
Freddy vs. Jason?
Yeah, that's a good movie.
I think we said it was good even in the...
I think so.
Yeah. It's better when considered as a Nightmare movie.
Definitely.
But yeah, good movie is a good movie, I think, regardless of what...
We might have said it was bad as a Friday movie.
Yes. Or not as effective.
Yeah.
We would have
said it's a good movie, but not.
We're pretty generous when it comes to the Friday movies. The culture tells me.
Yeah.
When I look outside, when I look at anything else written about those movies, I realize we're pretty generous. We're pretty forgiving.
Yeah. I think I'm willing to say that both last movies on my list are bad.
That's the only one I'm struggling with is Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. I could go either way on that one.
You know, Roseanne Barr and Tom Arnold are in that movie, right?
I do. That doesn't bother me at all. I think.
No? Okay.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think you have to commit to the bit. So if you're going for kitsch and quirky and camp, you need a lot more moments like the Tom Arnold and Roseanne Barr scene.
But that's the only moment. What are you talking about?
That's what I mean. You need more of that. That's what I'm saying, and that's why the movie doesn't reach the heights.
The absurdist level?
Yeah. It
Yeah.
But it's not an abject failure, and to me it reclaims some of the kind of problems with dreamscapes in Dreamchild. So
I'll tell you what.
I'm right in the middle. I'm right on the line. I don't know.
I'll tell you, if you were to tell me that I can judge the movie just on, say, like, the last half hour, I'd say it's a good movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't have any strong feelings.
Oh, maybe
about
I'm
that
being
section.
unfair. I
I
guess
like the earlier part of the movie.
The front section is, there are parts that I think are okay, but I just think it's really uneven.
It is really uneven. There's no denying that. I've been generous enough. I'm going to say it's a bad movie.
But just that one.
I've overlooked enough. Well, that and Dreamchild.
Oh no, yeah. So you're saying both are bad too. Okay.
So we have the same two bad movies.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe. So the biggest discussion we're going to have is how the hell did Nightmare on Elm Street 2 get to the top of your list?
No, we're going to talk about how the hell 4 got to the top of your list.
I think that's. I gotta say, I think that's easier to swallow.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, we'll see. I think people have way more problems with Nightmare on Elm Street 2 than Dream Master.
And I'm saying they're all wrong.
Right, but for once, I'm with the consensus.
Yes and no.
To be honest, I didn't know that it was as well liked a movie as it was when I decided it was the top of my list. I'd forgotten that part of it. I couldn't remember whether it was one of the ones that was liked or one of the ones that was hated.
Well, I think I'm going to say something in which I'll unravel my own argument when we talk about Rotten Tomatoes.
It's fine. I do it all the time.
But
I've done it about 8 times this episode.
Because that movie has a pretty high Rotten Tomatoes score. And it was well reviewed even at the time.
Yes.
But culturally, I just feel like everything after 3 in this series, most people went, it really started to suck after that.
Well,
I mean, even in popular culture, at the beginning of Scream, Drew Barrymore, the man on the phone brings up Nightmare on Elm Street fingers. He's like, the guy with the razors for fingers. And she's just like, the first one was good, but the rest of them sucked.
And it's in New Nightmare, the same line.
Yeah.
Wes Craven has a complex. That's what that tells me.
So I don't know. I think popular culture, except for like diehard fans, I think generally
horror fans too. Like horror fans know the score.
All right.
They understand that there's more to Friday the 13th Part 4 or Halloween 4 or.
Hopefully.
I wasn't trying to suggest that there's a pattern of good slasher 4s. But I think there is.
I know what you're doing, you bastard.
Dream Master.
I can come right back at you with Halloween 2 and Friday the 13th
you
Part 2.
You can, yeah. That doesn't help me, does it?
So...
No, yeah. This is what I mean. The worst day of slashing beats the best day of working.
Yep.
There's literally nothing to complain about.
All right. We've completed our mandate.
And then some.
They are ranked, and they are declared.
Yeah. And
Now it's time to talk.
this is and it's gonna start with contention.
Right.
Not as much contention as I think you're expecting.
Shouldn't be.
I thought I was taking it easy on this movie. I really did. But I had no idea how easy you were going to take it. That, by the way, I like this movie enough that I think I thought it was a big swing for me to say, unequivocally, it's a good movie.
Hmm.
You don't hear that a lot.
True.
You definitely don't hear that it's the best Nightmare sequel ever. So you've outswung me.
Yes.
But I honestly, I'm not.
Honestly, though, I don't think you're not hearing anybody in the world say 4 is the best of these sequels.
I've heard people
either.
say that. I've definitely heard people say that.
You haven't heard anybody say
I've heard
that.
Matt Gawley thinks that.
All right, one person.
One person who has a horror franchise podcast thinks that.
All right, anything left?
No, let's.
I'm sweating in the closet. Let's get out of here and.
Well,
we're not going to get out of here.
We're gonna do this episode outside. Is it gonna? Matt Gawley make you think of more walking? We're gonna go around with our little. Radio mics, walk around the Palisades Mall while we talk about Freddy's Revenge.
I can at least open the door for 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's
How
true.
about that?
Why is it so hot still?
It's humid is what it is because it rained yesterday.
But why is any of this happening?
Because it's fucking September. It's like the hottest month of the year here.
But how is that possible? I mean, fall or autumn, as it's actually called, is just around the corner.
Don't bring your British language into this fucking
Well, if
podcast.
you'd had some
Your
fucking seasons
nonsense.
out here, I wouldn't have to. But you won't leave me in this seasonless purgatory. I got no choice but to complain about what I have to call it. Yeah, I think the problem is that we're recording and releasing this, the first few episodes of this in September. So
Yeah.
we're still in the summer when we're talking about what is a very fall seasoned franchise. Although we got a lot to talk about. This is just sort of food for thought about
Hurry up.
how. Well, Elm Street and Springwood, right? Elm Street and Springwood.
Yeah. It's...
What are either of those places? I guess it's the same question we have every time, right? It's like
That's another big
Crystal
problem
Lake,
with Freddy's Dead.
Haddonfield.
They have these fucking title cards that are supposed to explain stuff, and it just brings up more questions than anything else.
Yeah, and it makes you think you're about to play Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. That's all I had.
All right. Now you got to tell us what you think, ladies and gentlemen. I want to know how you rank these movies. I want to know if they're good or bad. I assume Tom wants to know those things as well.
No, I don't.
I should
care.
have said we.
No, you're right. You're right to say I couldn't care less.
How do you do it? You know what to do. You got to hit the buttons on the books and the grams and the...
Skis.
Well, I ran out. Skis.
The X's.
X's.
The
What else?
The Trons.
Threads. That was the one I was trying to think of that escaped my
I couldn't
brain, and
remember
then I
Threads either. Feels like
stopped talking.
maybe that's a cultural condition now. Like everyone's forgotten about Threads because it serves no purpose now. Everyone hates everything.
It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why there's Threads.
No. Well, it made sense when it started, but it doesn't make sense now. Arguably, Blue Sky's the same because people just wanted to feel like
they're both Twitters.
They're both fake Twitters, yes.
Yeah.
But Blue Sky was there to satiate a cultural need to feel like it was still 2008. And now that has passed, and we know those heady
We're in a
days,
hellscape.
those heady days ain't never coming back no more.
Right.
They've outlived their purpose. I don't know. There's nothing to gain from them. Either of them.
You know that animated moment
But find us there.
in Freddy's Dead when the fishies go through the hole and kind of go through that multimedia,
Oh, like
kind
Monty
of-
Python's Meaning of Life?
cavernous brain
That's-
of his or whatever it is.
Mhm.
That's what we're in.
Oh, I wish. Sounds like a nice excursion compared to what we're living through.
God damn it.
Jealous of dystopias once again.
All right. Or send an email to everythingsequel@gmail.com. That's it. When you hear us next, we'll be talking A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. All right, for Tom Stewart of Lonesome Whistle Productions, Michael Shantz here. I'm from the How Dare You Awards. Say goodbye to everybody, Tom.
How sweet, dark meat.
Oh, God damn it.
I'm with Kamal Nanjiani on that line. Like, why do we expect better from Freddy? Why were we disappointed in Freddy when that...
Excellent point.
Yeah. It goes
Yeah.
back to the cutting the N-word out of French Connection. It's like, what, you want to sanitize Popeye Doyle? You think Freddy the serial murderer,
The child
abuser
serial murderer.
isn't a racist and couldn't come up with this terrible, tasteless phrasing?
Joke?
Yeah. I love the fact that, on that documentary, the screenwriters are quick to absolve themselves from any involvement in that line.
Yeah,
Basically, anything in the film that doesn't work, they claim they didn't write.
right. Or it was cut out.
Yeah.
All the continuity problems is because it was cut out.
The problem is, though, after seeing the Friday the 13th reboot, I believe him.
Yeah, true. All right.
Check it out on Patreon.
$5 episode gets you one episode, and $10 gets you two
You have
episodes.
to pay $10 for that, but yeah.
You want to listen to just one.
That's what we assume. I
Yeah.
have a feeling people are fine with that limit.
The answer to that question will be answered next week on another new episode of the Everything Sequel Podcast. Good night, everybody. Or good day, or good morning. Wherever you're listening to this fucking thing.
Bitch!
Bye.
Did you know that the Everything Sequel podcast has a sequel? It's our Patreon, and for a low monthly donation, you can get up to 2 exclusive, full-length, ad-free bonus episodes. $5 a month gets you an episode discussing all the original movies from the series we've covered on the podcast. And that's a lot of snakeheads. But $10 a month scores you the reboot to boot. Support Everything Sequel on Patreon and reap the benefits of amazing brand new content you quite literally can't get anywhere else. Got more money than sense? We also offer one-time payments that will get you in the driver's seat of the podcast. Maybe even the passenger seat. That metaphor doesn't work, but our show does. So join the Patreon and believe the hype. It's a sequel.